Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Escape Plan. So if you've watched my first video, you'll have an understanding of how everything kind of goes together. This video is about the main body of the game, the main actions. Let's jump straight into it. In turn order, so purple's going first. You have 3 movement. So each movement is when you're changing from a location to a terrain type, and from one terrain type to another terrain type. So if this purple is going first, so if he goes 1, because he's come from a location to a terrain, he can travel through that terrain for free. 2, he's only used 2 of his actions, but he can't use any more. And what he's done is, because he's gone to the bikers, he grabs the 2 biker markers, puts his little marker there, and that costs him 5 money. So there's a little money symbol there. So he spends the 5 money, and then it's the next player's turn. So that's how you get to places. You must finish your movement on a place. You can't finish the movement out in the open. Now notice he just went from this spot to this spot. If green is the next person to go, he might go 1, 2 to there. So he's gone from here to here. There are police on this location, but he doesn't need to avoid those police on the location. In fact, he won't need to avoid those police until he leaves that hex tile. So green has managed to get to a business. What happens on the business? First up, and this actually happens with most of the places, if there is another color already on the spot, you'll gain notoriety. So let's say that's what it looks like. Green goes there. Ah, there's one already there, so he's going to gain 1 notoriety. He's then going to take the uppermost cube out of his income track and put it over here. Now, where over there depends on this card. So this is private information. It's just you're trusted to do the right thing. He's going to the nightclub, so he's actually taking income, which means it goes into that space. He then gets 8 money, so that's 8 money coming in. If he had one of the other symbols on that, he would have placed it here, not taken that money in, but that would then give him that benefit at the end of the game, assuming he managed to get out of the city. Whenever you visit an industry, which is one of those 6 locations, you then gain one of these cards. What do they mean? Well, what they all mean is actually written on the back of the rule book, but in essence, we can have a look at the pictures on the bottom. So that is kind of like having bikers for 1 tile. This one allows you to go from this tile to this tile without having to deal with the police on either of those 2 tiles. This one takes a black guy and just removes him from the game. These 2 allow you to just avoid the police of both colours on 1 tile. This one allows you to move any of the black police to another tile that doesn't have a black police already on it. And the snitch allows you to remove the 1 police officer of that colour from the board entirely. So you could take a blue guy and just gone, he's gone. Now that doesn't happen straight away. So for example, let's say he takes that card. That just goes into his pile of contacts that he's got. When he wishes to use that, it's going to cost him 2 money. When he uses the 2 money and uses the card, he also gains 1 notoriety. Let's say now the orange does the same thing, goes to there. So orange is getting money at the end of the game. So he will take a cube and put it just there. He's gaining 1 notoriety for the player that's already there. And he also gets to gain a card. So he might gain that one and throw that onto his pile. It's relatively straightforward when you know what's happening. Now, this is a 3-player game. 2 people have visited this business already, which now means that that business is closed. In order for Purple to be able to visit this business, he's going to need to use a key. How do we get keys? I'm glad you asked. When a player goes to here, so let's say it's Purple's turn, he goes 1, 2, 3. He's now visiting a safe house. He'll get notoriety for any other player that's there. There aren't any there, so he doesn't have to worry about that at the moment. He will take the uppermost cube from his income track and place it on the location, just like with businesses. So this is number 3, so he's going to get money at the end of the game. So that goes on the bottom. He loses 1 notoriety, so he'll push that up to there. He takes one of the available keys, which is these 3. Now, these 3 keys are talking in colour about these 3 boxes. So at the moment, early game, it is better to be able to get into the green boxes. So he'll take a green key, simply because the box you're able to get into depends on how many contacts you have and how much notoriety you have. and I'll talk about getting into them in a second. And then he may buy a fixer tile, which is one of these. So for example, if he buys one, he'll buy that, and that costs him 3 money, so he spends that. That allows him to take an income once, so he might actually take that straight away, which is 8 money in, and that has now been used. Notice that was an executive action, the use of the fixed tiles. Those executive actions can happen at any time. This guy remains on the player board, but is only discarded if it's actually replaced. And I'll talk about how that happens very shortly. The next space that's available is the games, which these ones I've already taken one of them today, so we'll move forward. Just a step to the side, if you manage to get all 3 of your colour into one of the three, you'll gain what is below it. So what you can gain by getting all 3 is one of these discs, which allows you to take the extra action at the end of the day, so moving into the night, or it allows you to move one of these tokens across to the side and move down the notoriety, so taking negative notoriety. The next space that is available to visit is the convenience store. So let's say it's Green's turn. Green is going to go 1, 2 to get to the convenience store. There's been 3 cops on that spot. He can avoid 2 of the cops, these 2, but he still has to deal with the black one. So the black one will cause an injury. So in using that costs him 2 money. So I'll take the 2 money off, flip that token over, and that also gives him 1 extra notoriety, and he moves up to the convenience store. So the way the convenience store works is, once again, you gain 1 notoriety for every other player that's already there. You'll gain 1 gas can by going to a store, which is these. What the gas can allows you to do is get an extra movement. So instead of being able to move 3 elements, you can move 4. He may buy any of these, so 2 of these. So he might buy this one and this one. What they allow him to do is to avoid some police. So they'll cost him 5 money. Now that he has purchased, what he's now able to do is go to visit these. So let's say that he had previously gone here and that was his cube, not the purple cube. He's got the green key. What that allows him to do is he's looking for a notoriety plus his cards of 1 or more. So at the moment he has 1 notoriety, he has 1 card, so he's got 2, so that's absolutely fine. What that allows him to do now that he is able to get that is, for every card he has, he takes 1 of these tiles plus 1. So he's got 1 card, he picks up 2 tiles. He'll look at both of those, see the different money on them. This one's 90, so it's probably worth him taking it. He'll put that behind his screen, upside down, shuffle that other one back into the deck, and that green key has now been used. Okay, moving forward, other spots that he can visit. The clinic. So if he goes into the clinic, gain notoriety for each card is currently there, just like with all the others. He may unlock one of his asset tiles, which is these guys, so he can push one of them over there. It doesn't matter which one, he doesn't have to take it from there. He could take that one. It's just going to cost him money to use that. I talked about that in the last video. He can heal 1 wound, so if he has a wound sitting there, he gets to push that back across, and then he takes 1 more of these contract cards, and it's next player's turn. Okay, we have the churches over here, so he can move to there. 1, 2, there's a ferry here, so that allows him to move through the water. So it's 1, 2, 3. He's moved off the all 3 police. He doesn't have anything that can avoid them, except he does have that card. So it costs him 2 money, gains him 1 notoriety, but that avoids the police as if he had a biker. So once again, 1 notoriety for each other person that's at the church already. What he can do is pay 1 money to lose 1 notoriety, and he would do that and just mark it in there. Of course, all the notoriety will be fixed up in a second. Once again, he can unlock an asset tile, so he might unlock that one. These are in no specific order, so they just kind of move wherever you need them to, other than these 3 on the top, these 3 are on the bottom. And once again, he may take a contact card. There's only a couple more places to go to. So, purple goes to the hospital. At the hospital you can pay, so if he has 3 wounds, he could pay 6 money to move all 3 of those wounds down. Or if he had 2 wounds, he could spend 3 money to move them down. Or if he just wished to move 1 down, he could spend 1 money to move that 1 down. And he will gain 1 notoriety whenever he goes there. He doesn't, when goes there, get to select one of these cards. Once 2 of these cards have been turned over, we will put one of these piles on the exit matching that tile. So exit number 3 is the one that's available to us at the moment. It doesn't have any. If it did, just imagine that goes on there. What that enables us to do is when someone goes to the exit, you can't exit the city there, but once again you gain 1 notoriety for each other player that's on there. He has the choice between taking an income or just taking a tile. He would take a number of these tiles according to how many contact cards he has on his exit on his board. So he'd take 2 and have a look at them, and they're both worth 50, so he'll place one of them face down, the other one goes there and gets shuffled in, and then he gets to take another contact card. And that is pretty much all of the spaces. The only other thing I haven't really dealt with is how to travel around. So within your travel portion, you can move 3 spots. But you'll notice there are some that have this little H sign, there are some that have that little F sign. There are helicopter spots or helipads, and there are also subways. For the subway to work, you need to have another subway. So if, for example, this tile was out, what you could do is move into this subway and come up on the other subway. By doing that, you actually gain 1 extra movement point. You need to avoid these police, but you don't need to avoid police in between the spots. If you are on a helipad, what that enables you to do is move from this spot to this spot if you wish. So it's basically 1 or 2 tiles away from where you currently are. It costs 1 movement to do that. If you have the card that allows you to do it without using the movement, these ones with the H is to action one of these tiles, which is talking about a helipad as opposed to a heliport, but works very similarly. And I believe that is everything for this game. If you have any comments or suggestions, just 2 seconds, step back. Each time this moves onto the star, we actually action this. So orange is moving forward 1, so it's forward 2, back 1, so it's just forward 1. Green is moving forward 2. And purple is moving back 1, but he's on 1, so he stays where he is. All those tokens then drop back down. And we then move on to the next day. Whenever we cross the line, obviously the stuff next to that happens. We talked about it in the other video, so please go ahead and watch that. I'll leave that there. I think that I've covered everything for Escape Plan. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you would like to be Gamesplained, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at thegamesplainer to keep up to date with the games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.